Welcome to the first game of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're on Frozen Temple, spawning to the bottom right-hand side in blue, playing Terran. It's Grizzly. And to the top left-hand corner in pink, playing for Team Redbloods and Protoss, it's Lady Azylis. A PvT on Frozen Temple. Let's see what's going to happen. Actually, we can see that Lady Azylis is already changing up her builds a little bit, because the few last times I've seen her play against Terran, she usually used to proxy something over here. Most of the time it was a Stargate, and then building up a big gateway army with a few Void Rays, trying to destroy the Terran with an early cheese build, but not this time around. So it seems as if Azylis wants to change it up a little bit and wants to try a little macro kind of game this time around. Grizzly has already walled off. No, she hasn't. I thought that was a depot, but it isn't. So she's starting to wall off her her main base ramp, but unfortunately not early enough in order to deny the scouting information to that probe, while her own SCV is just now trying to figure out what her opponent is doing. We'll see the early, or actually normal kind of nexus going down after the gateway. Typical gateway expand, nothing all too unusual here, but Grizzly knows now what's going on and might as well sleep a little bit better after knowing that Azylis is not trying to cheese her, most probably. So, actually trying to deny the command center for a little more, does not really succeed in doing so, trying to nibble away at that SCV, but is now going to die to the marine fire of that first produced marine. Also quite unusual for a Terran player not to get a Reaper out early on, because usually you want to have a Reaper in order to gather some scouting information, but of course Grizzly has already done that with the help of that SCV. Still, you usually want to have a Reaper later on, just because you have a lot of possibilities to get inside the main base of the Protoss, and you then just want to know which tech route the Protoss is normally using. But this time around, she might just get the information some other way. It's just parking the SCV over here. We'll probably try to send it in a little bit later on, while taking her own to gases, going into a factory build. And as far as we know, Grizzly, she usually likes some sort of early aggressive builds against Protoss. So oftentimes we just see her massing up a few Marines and a tank, maybe even a Liberator, or even sometimes barely a Raven, but most of the time just Liberator. And then with the Liberator, tank and Marine, she just normally pushes towards the front and tries to take down the Protoss early on. Does not really want to play a long drawn-out macro game until Protoss late game. Seems to not really feel comfortable with it. Yeah, and mines are also, of course, mixed in it as well. So we have the full AoE power of mines and tanks, and then also the Liberation Zone, which is not really AoE damage by definition, but still, the Liberators shoot that quickly and kill units that fast that you can almost consider it AoE. In the meantime, we have the typical standard follow-up by Azylis here. It's a Twilight Council after the robotics facility. Usually a Protoss just wants to have the robotics facility early out, or wants to have it out early on, because you really want to have that observer just in case your opponent is playing something cloaky, like mines, for example, or even the Banshee, that you actually don't really see that often anymore in that matchup. But still, you want to have some detection out, be it at home, which is the second observer this time around, or just send it across the map in order to see what your opponent is doing. But as we see, Grizzly just massing a few more Marines, in the meantime producing the tank, also producing a mine, wants to have the starport out, is probably not going to build a medevac, maybe one, but most likely it's going to be the Liberator for the early push. So we'll see what's going to happen. In the meantime, Azylis now finally having the resources left in order to get some units out, had to just trust her mothership core for defense that far. And Blink already getting out. Seems as if Lady Azylis is really a bit scared of air units, mostly Liberators. So she really wants to have her Blink out early on in order to deal a little bit better. So that's actually nice information here for her. If she was actually carefully watching the minimap at that point in time, she should know that her opponent is moving out, and is actually reacting right now by planting down a few more pylons for the photon overcharge. Should actually also get the mothership core over here, and there it is. So yeah, Azylis was well aware of what's going to happen. Okay, even a few bunkers are going to be placed with the help of that SCVs, maybe also there for counter repair, but mostly for the bunkers, I think. And then the only thing that's missing is the one medevac. Okay, medevac first, and then maybe a liberator later on. Also some cyclone for some additional damage against the mothership core. Okay, unfortunately placed the bunkers a little bit too far in front, so she has to cancel them right now. So the first initial push has been delayed a little bit further behind, which gives Azylis actually the chance to just warp in a few more units. Mines are out already, set already to the right flank. I don't really know if I like it that much, but maybe she just wants to capture a unit that might come from the high ground over here. So Marines now just pushing the tank just in siege range of that pylon, taking down the first pylon already. Not really in siege range of that second pylon, if I see it correctly, but of course the Cyclone can deal with that as well. And now the siege tank has just been repositioned with the help of that medevac. And now finally Azylis is already moving out, feels to have either the need to push out or just think that she will have just enough units in order to take that down. And it seems as if she will just easily crush through everything that Grizzly built up here, no problem whatsoever, tearing down, crushing through bunkers and tanks and everything. And Grizzly now on the full-out retreat on a 30 supply deficit. Azylis just doesn't want to lose much time, just pushes across the map. She knows that she hasn't lost almost anything, while her opponent has actually lost the complete army. Grizzly still has some units up, but she needs to make them siege quickly, as well as the Liberator. So Azylis has to be careful, has to decide now, does she want to go in or not? She has an observer on the high ground, she has blink available, so she could just easily blink onto the tanks and try to take them out. Grizzly even pulling some probes here, knows that this is her last stand. She needs to hold now or she will lose that game, but Azylis just crushing through everything effortlessly, taking out the tank, now sits right in the natural base. Doesn't even matter that the supply depot can raise up. Okay, there's one little siege tank at least over here, which keeps Azylis from pushing onto the high ground for now, but as we can see, there's still the observer here. It seems as if she really wants to blink in from the left hand side. There she goes, just takes out another supply depot. And of course now the blink is on cooldown, so she will suffer some hits, but like I said before, it doesn't even matter. Even if she really loses this army here, the damage dealt will be just so significant that I think that Grizzly will not be able to ever get back. She could actually just take a few of these stalkers trying to focus fire down that orbital command. If that orbital command dies, that will be absolutely game for Grizzly. But like I said before, it seems as if it doesn't just really matter. In the meantime, we even have a third base in position for Lady Azylis already, now blinking forward, taking out one more tank, only one, no, actually two tanks remain, so the tank's really dealing some damage here, but I mean 67 to 26 supply, how many workers remain? It's 11 to 46 plus one mule. I mean, mules are good, having a second base might also be okay, but she just will not be able to land it, so Azylis could actually contain her opponent for a little bit longer, and while she is on 3 bases, now her opponent is barely on 2. Nice sneak out here by Grizzly, just flying that base over to the third position, to the third oh damn it, to the location of the third base over here. I'm just too excited. And okay, Grizzly still trying to stay inside the game, trying to make the best out of it. Maybe she feels as if she did quite some damage towards the Protoss units, but again, I think it doesn't really matter. Now another tank is going to die, 2 more tanks are up the high ground, now sieging, but the units are already there, taking out the first tank before it can even give off a shot, and now she could just blink after these other siege tanks. Okay, finally 2 Liberators arrive, but Liberators are still pretty slowly when sieging, now taking down the orbital command as well. She should now actually even see that there's a command center down here, so knows about that command center as well. Could just very well retreat or just take down these this command center over here with the incoming units. It's 114 to 26. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I really tried to hype it up, but this game is over. Shading in with the adepts, taking out a little bit more of the mineral line. The income for Grizzly is almost 0 at that point in time to the, what was it? Okay, there it is, GG, and Azylis takes the first game. Welcome to the second map of the series. It's King Sejong Station, spawning to the bottom right-hand corner in blue. Playing Terran, it's Grizzly. And to the top left-hand corner in pink, playing Protoss, we have Azylis, who just won her first game of the series in a very convincing fashion, holding off Grizzly's early push and then just crushing through her forces bit by bit. Not really much that Grizzly could do to keep it from happening. So, let's see if Grizzly is trying to change it up or will try to do the same push once more. Same for Azylis, it's the typical gateway expand, so nothing new out of her. Nothing wrong about playing the good old standard tactics. If it works, why would you change it up? Well, sometimes you change it up just because for fun, but fun sometimes is overrated when it's about winning. So, both scouting now will probably miss each other due to the AI routing. So, there is the SCV. There's... oh, actually it seems as if Lady Azylis is up to no good. So, carrying the Marauders map around with her. Because this is going to be some sort of proxy build. Probably from this location I'd go with a Stargate build. And then maybe an Oracle flying in. Could of course also be some sort of close by robo, so that she will be able to produce a warp prism a bit faster and send it over towards the main base. So we'll see what it's going to be. But the cybernetics core is almost done, and then we'll see the follow-up. In the meantime, we have the scout for Grizzly. She's seen that her opponent has not expanded yet, and sees that she's already gone into double gas and a cybernetics core. And here we go with the Stargate build, so it's probably going to be either an Oracle, or this time around she plays her favorite Void Ray build just on King Sejong Station. So we'll see what it's going to be. So in the meantime, we have some adepts coming out. Yeah, like I said, I mean, Grizzly should actually kind of know that something is up. There's just the proxy gateway for quicker warp-ins, because that's what changed in Legacy of the Void, just in case you didn't know. You can't really... you can still warp in at pylons that are placed somewhere around the map, but it now takes longer for units to warp in if there's not a gateway close by. So if you actually plan to do a very aggressive strategy, and now we'll see whether it's going to be an Oracle, and there it is, and maybe a Void Ray follow-up, so we'll see. Yeah, probably going to be a very aggressive push here, maybe even one base it seems, because Azylis does not even try to take a base back at home. So seems as if we are facing a one base push here. Like I said before, I mean, Grizzly should actually kinda know that something is up, especially after not scouting a base down here, after having scouted everything within the main base. Unfortunately for her, I don't really know if she's realized what's going on, because she's not trying to find the proxy location whatsoever, not using her first Marines, not building a Reaper, not trying to check it out with SCVs. I think she's kind of oblivious to what's going on. She now tries to find out and will probably just freak out in a minute once she sees, well, okay, all of these Marines have just died to that one Oracle. Yeah, that's very unfortunate, but you need more than 4 Marines in order to take on an Oracle. Oracle still pretty low, but it killed all of the Marines. Now Grizzly actually sees that there's no base down here, so she should actually freak out like crazy, actually throwing down a few bunkers here and there as well. So in the meantime, we have, like I said before, the Void Ray follow-up. Reading Azylis like a book here, ladies and gentlemen. No, it's actually easy if you've seen a lot of games of these players. Then it's not that difficult to figure out what they might be up to, of course. So more Void Rays in production. Warp Gate has finished. First few warpings are already arriving. And there's not really much to hold this. I mean, one bunker is down now, but this is a full-out one-base assault. I think Grizzly would need way more. And unfortunately, the bunker is not even done. Seems as if most of these units actually die before they can actually hide behind that bunker. Repairs just a little bit too late. The bunker dies. The only thing we have right now is one tank inside that medevac that is now being sieged up, but the tank will not even help against the Void Ray that much once it charges up, and this base is gone, ladies and gentlemen. Will probably even be taken out, but it seems as if Azylis just has to retreat a little bit due to that tank fire over here. Grizzly just repairing the orbital command with the help of the mule and the help of the SCVs, but unfortunately she's of course now also missing the mining from the second base. She doesn't have any defensive structures down here. More units are warping in. We also have a second Void Ray with a third one on the way. The only thing that stands between those units is actually the Liberator, and actually I think with the few Marines over here, actually the Oracle could have just flown in and killed them off by focus firing. But yeah, the Void Rays just easily kill the Liberator, also easily kill the units down here. The turret will not be finished in time. Siege tanks unfortunately can't attack any flying units. The medevac as well won't really help out against that Void Rays. Actually everything on the ground might still die, but the Void Ray still keeps on being the problem over here. Grizzly just barely saves her tank, but does not even re-siege it. So a Widow Mine comes out, maybe with the help of the Widow Mine she might be able to kind of snipe the Void Ray, but one Widow Mine shot alone wouldn't even be enough. More units being morphed in while the third Void Ray finally arrives at the front as well. This base is forfeit, so nothing there she can actually do. Grizzly has already dropped to 38 supply, and if she even can't rescue that orbital command, actually Lady Azylis has already dealt a lot of damage, actually actually enough damage to even just transition into a normal macro game. So even if she figured out that her opponent, or that she won't be able to break her opponent, she could just actually now send down her Nexus and or sent down a probe to plant down a Nexus. But yeah, it seems as if she really wants to break through right now. A siege tank in a good location here, just dealing way more damage than it actually should, I feel. But more units incoming from the void, from the proxy location. Finally arrive as well. We still have another Void Ray in production. Now even a proxy pylon with another warp gate right outside Grizzly's base. Bam! Directly into your face. Grizzly still tries to hang on as best as she can. Will now even lose that bunker over here. Finally the units walk in. We only have one tank to help out. There's also the big supply block for Grizzly due to losing these supply depots over here. Widow Mine actually gets a good shot right inside that Stalker group here. Where's the Void Rays actually? Are they actually already dead? Okay, actually it seems as if the Void Rays have somehow died to something that I've just actually missed. So maybe it was the Viking with the help of the Widow Mine, but it doesn't actually matter. Okay, Grizzly has another command center up, but her resources are low, her income is low. Another Void Ray has finally arrived, now even taking down the factory here, so even killing the tech off, and this just seems to be more than enough. GG, and Azylis takes the second game as well. Galactic Process is the third map of this series, spawning to the bottom left-hand corner in blue, playing Terran. It's Grizzly. And to the top right, leading 2-0, playing in pink as Protoss. It's Azylis. So let's see what Azylis has prepared this time around. Fended off one cheesy push, played one cheesy push, and is now ahead 2-0. Let's see what Grizzly can do this time around. She chose Galactic Process, its loser's pick, in this best of 5, so it was her choice to play the third game on Galactic Process. Maybe she's up to something, but not for now, just sending out the standard SCV. Wants to get some information from the opponent, same as Azylis. We have another gateway, so it looks like a gateway expand build, but of course could also turn into a cheese. So we'll see what is going to happen. Okay, sneaks into the main base. I just remember the good old wall days where actually Terran players just try to seal off this area as soon as possible, just getting out an early depot, which would of course delay the command center because you just lost 100 resources plus the mining time from the SEV. So it would get delayed a little bit, and there's the expand. But yeah, you would just deny the scouting, the probe scouting, and for some players that was really that important that they actually wanted to get out that second supply depot as fast as possible. So interesting placement here by Lady Azylis, just taking that watchtower. Maybe she just wants to get some information of drop play incoming, because that's usually a typical route that Terran drops take in order to get inside the main base while checking for a third base. So, but she could also of course use it later on for some proxy shenanigans. Maybe just planting down a pylon close to that gold base, maybe just even planting it down right there where she stands in order to get a building down. Nice little refinery block here by Grizzly, just wants to keep the Protoss from getting early gases. And unfortunately, Lady Azylis even in being supply blocked. So it seems as if this really shook her. And this really made her a little bit nervous for getting her other pylon. So unfortunately, this Stalker will be out even later with together with the Mothership Core. So this refinery actually takes some time to get taken down and delays that gas by quite a bit. So nice little move there by Grizzly to steal that gas, keeping the Protoss from getting the desired early tech. So nice little move there. Okay, Lady Azylis in the meantime has her second base up. Same with Grizzly, both just starting to saturate the natural base while Azylis goes into the typical robo. Like I said, there's not much possibilities for Protoss, or not many builds for Protoss if you actually want to play some sort of macro game, because you just need the early robotics facility in order to get the observer out and the detection out. Everything else against Terran is just really, really risky, because you just never know whether your opponent is going into some mines or not. And if suddenly just a mine drop hits you and you don't have any observers out, any detection at all, then you're just screwed. You can actually just leave the game right then and there. So yeah, actually not many possibilities for Protoss to go into a macro game if you don't really want to cheese, if you don't really want to do a special 2-base timing attack, or 1-base timing attack actually, because as soon as you want to go into 2 bases, you just need to take care of Widow Mines. So not really that much you can do. Probe still hanging out at the watchtower, enjoying the chill life that it provides. And Grizzly has already set down a bunker this time around, doesn't really want to get crushed by any sort of 1-base shenanigans, or by any sort of early shenanigans. She already knows that her opponent doesn't only have already has 2 bases out. So, and it seems as if it's going to be her signature build. We again have the Marines, we have some mines, we have a tank, we have a Liberator on the move. So yeah, it's going to be the same defense. I mean, Lady Azylis has already defended once against it. She doesn't really know yet, but will see with the help of the observer that, oh, or might she? Well, she sees 1 Marine moving out, which might just tip her off. Hasn't actually seen the army composition, but will probably arrive at the main base. And now see that a tank is on the way as well. Might even see the Liberator getting out as well. Yeah, there are the additional pylons that are supposed to help out with the help of Photon Overcharge. A little bit later than last time. So maybe Grizzly will actually be able to, this time around, make it happen before the pylons finish, and Photon Overcharge can actually delay her push by killing the bunkers that Grizzly will obviously try to plant down. But yeah, okay, everything just arrives barely in time. Nice little control there by Lady Azylis, just getting all the important information. Also gets some sentries out. And it seems as if Grizzly just abandons her plan to push at the front and instead tries to just smuggle everything into the main base, which is actually quite a nice move, maybe even then trying to attack from 2 different angles. And we'll see how everything is going to work out. Liberation Zone is set up. It doesn't cover actually everything. No, it doesn't actually cover everything here, but yeah, actually just might even be able to get down the Mothership Core, which is actually kind of a big snipe, but she's going to lose the Liberator for it. Probably Or just barely losing it. A little bit of a miscontrol there by Grizzly. Very unfortunate there. But the Stalkers just shoot down the Liberator as well. So now the aggressive potential of this push has just gone. And everything just died mostly merely for a Mothership Core and a few units here and there. While again, Lady Azylis just managed to preserve most of her forces. Is now just pushing across the map. The only thing missing actually is like a forward pylon or a warp prism that would help her to reinforce her forces a little bit stronger. So this would make this push even more scary. Now she just has to send all of her units across the map, which is actually quite a big distance here. But it's again a 30 supply deficit. Siege tanks not even sieged for Grizzly here. Ooh, big blunder. Very unfortunate there. The bunker is just going to die instantly. Even no chance really for the SCVs to repair, even if they were pulled. They are still sandwiched with... oh, actually no force fields available anymore. But yeah, for now it just seems to work out quite well. Azylis just has to retreat a little bit. A lot of her units there just died to the tank fire and also to the Marines from the bunker before she could finally tear it down. So Grizzly holds for now, and it seems as if Azylis is just not really sure whether she wants to push again. Just keeps her units close to the base of Grizzly over here and takes a third base because she can. So now she just has everything under control. Map presence, map control. No chance for Grizzly actually to really push out. Well, she could of course and should actually just try to produce a few more medevacs and maybe deal some damage from the right angle, but it's going to be very difficult. I mean, she's very afraid, and rightly so. She really wants to keep everything at home in order to defend. Yeah, there it is. Just tries to apply some counter pressure, but these units will just desperately missed over here. And yeah, like I said, okay, there's the bunker counter repair, but just too much damage output. The second base is going to die to the immortal fire, or isn't it? Grizzly, repair! No, repair! It's burning down! Oh my god! Okay, in the meantime, we have the medevac just trying to fly in, gets just shot down by the Stalkers. Multitasking, pretty difficult to do. Oh no, in the meantime, we also have the medevac drop down to the third base. And actually, whoa, actually making Azylis completely retreating to home. Don't really know if I like that move at all. And finally, Azylis just realizes, nah, I don't really need all of my forces back here. But for now, this counter pressure actually saved Grizzly's life. For now, but again, we have almost double the supply for Lady Azylis already. And I think the second push now, finally, with the help of the Warp Prism, should just seal the deal. I think there's not much that Grizzly actually can do against this. Even a force field on the ramp, not quite the best force field that actually shuts down everything, so Marines can still walk out, but just little by little, every unit that just drops out of this barrack will immediately get shot down. GG, and Lady Azylis takes the series with a convincing 3-0.